Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and I'm so excited for today's topic because I think it's something we all need to work on, and that's how to be self-aware and identify your feelings and how to work through them. Which is perfect because my last video was on projection where people weren't able to work through their feelings. So what is self-awareness and why do you care? Well, self-awareness is basically when you are aware of your motives, your feelings, your desires, your character, all of those things. It's basically just an awareness of yourself. And why it matters is because when you're not aware of yourself, you're not aware of your needs, you're not aware of how you're feeling, you then will do things that you don't want to do, or you'll find yourself in positions that make you unhappy, or you'll find yourself in relationships that are bad for you. Or it will lead to suppression and it will lead to struggling with things like anxiety and depression and addiction. So it's really important that you become aware of yourself so that way you don't wind up in unhealthy positions. And it's not just important to be self-aware, it's also important for you, on top of being self-aware, to identify your feelings and working through them. This may be hard and weird to a lot of people because most of us are not used to identifying our feelings or being aware of what is going on, since it's something that wasn't really taught and it's pretty foreign. This is something that I teach every single one of my clients, so you're pretty much getting a free coaching lesson. So the first thing the first homework assignment I always assign my clients is to journal. Now, journaling is such a helpful tool because I tell all my clients, it's literally a cheap form of therapy because we really all do have the answers to our own problems. It's just asking the right questions to get to our subconscious to release those answers. You know, my favorite psychologist, Carl Rogers, he also believed that everyone has their own insight and answers to their own problems. It's just getting them to uncover it. And that's exactly how I work with my clients. Everyone does have their own answers. It's just helping them learn how to identify what's going on and also asking the correct questions to help them get to the solution. And that's exactly what you want to do in your diary. That's exactly what you want to do in your journal, is you want to recognize when you're feeling a certain way and ask yourself certain questions to help you get to the root of it. Journaling also is really helpful because a lot of the times we all get very stuck in our head and things are all just jumbled up in our minds and we can't quite get a reach out of what is going on in our minds. Like, we have all these thoughts, all these ideas, and so it could be hard to recognize and identify that we're having negative thoughts that are causing us to feel this way. It's hard for us to identify what the main cause is. So journaling can help you get to the pinpoint of exactly what is going on. Also, when you're journaling, you're getting it from out of your head onto paper, and you can see exactly what's going on, and you need that release to get it out of your mind so you're not so stuck in your head and it's not all jumbled up in your mind. It's clear as day on paper. So the first thing I always ask my clients is, have you ever journaled before, and what do you think journaling is? Because every single person has a different definition for what journaling is. So the way that I define journaling, and this is the way to become self-aware, is to do a self-check-in. So basically at the end of your day, you check in with yourself and you say, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling that way? What kinds of thoughts did I have throughout the day that caused me to feel this way? It could be happy, it could be sad, it could be angry, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Now, if you notice you're having a lot of negative emotions, you want to ask yourself, what kinds of things happened to cause that? And what are the thoughts that you had that are now causing you to feel that anger, that sadness, whatever that emotion is? You want to get to the root cause of your feeling. Why are you feeling this way? When you get to the root cause, you can identify exactly what you need to help yourself. So let's say you're feeling very negative that day. What you want to do is you want to allow yourself to feel that negative feeling. You want to let yourself cry it out. You want to let yourself scream, whatever it is. You need to allow yourself to just talk it through and go through all of those emotions. If you are someone that's afraid to feel negative things, or you try to avoid at all costs, this would help you, because the thing is, you need to work through your negative emotions. Otherwise, like I said, you suppress them and they'll come out tenfold, and they'll come out with anxiety and depression. So the thing is that you want to accept that you're gonna have negative emotions, and it's really okay. It is just a feeling. What's the worst that comes from a negative emotion? You feel bad for a while. That's okay. You're now learning how to work through it. You need to be okay with those negative emotions because you're already feeling negative. You're just avoiding it. You're basically prolonging until it comes out, and then it will be a lot more work having to deal with it. Kind of similar if you have a symptom and you need to go to the doctor and you keep holding off going to the doctor. Sometimes it gets to the point where it's really bad, and then you have to do extra work to take care of that situation. So the same thing with your emotions. You don't want to push it to the side and deal with it later, because it could lead to horrible side effects like being anxious or being really sad and having a hard time getting out of it. So be okay with feeling negative and having negative emotions, and accept they're a part of life. It's really okay to feel negative. It's really just a feeling. And what happened in the past is you didn't know how to self-soothe or get yourself through it, but now you're gonna learn because we're gonna work through it. After you've let out all of your emotions, you need to then validate your feelings. Tell yourself, like, I'm allowed to feel this feeling. I am allowed to have emotions, because a lot of times as children, we are not validated a lot. And so you need to validate yourself and tell yourself, like, it's okay that I am feeling this negative feeling. Because a lot of times people, they'll try to suppress it and tell yourself, like, get back up, you're fine, get over it. You know, things that our parents have told us, we will have that voice in our head. So you need to now heal that inner child and use more reparenting language and tell yourself it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express your anger. You know, it's important that you validate those things. Not only that, it's important that you validate good that you do. So when you do a good job at something, like, you can write in your journal, like, I did this today and I'm really proud of myself, and give yourself a pat on the back. So going back to negative feelings, when it comes to coaching through your negative feelings, what you want to do is you need to then self-soothe or nurture or use reparenting language, which I talk a lot about that on my channel. So if you're having a lot of negative thoughts towards yourself, or you're dealing with a lot of negative things, you need to tell yourself things like, everything's gonna be okay, I got me, I love you, you did a great job, you know, things like that. Because as important as it is to allow all your feelings to come out, it's also equally as important that you're able to pick yourself back up. Because some people just do the process of, they let all their emotions out and they don't self-soothe or are able to pick themselves up. And so then they're just left with all those negative feelings. So that's the first thing. Now, let's say you're having a lot of negative thoughts towards yourself, or you're having a lot of anxious thoughts. What you want to do is you want to, with the negative thoughts, you want to reaffirm the opposite. So you want to reaffirm positive thoughts like, I am worthy, I am deserving of good things, I am happy with the way I am, I accept and love myself, flaws and all. You know, things like that. Whatever negative thought pattern you notice yourself having, you need to reaffirm the opposite. Notice that negative feeling you get when you reaffirm those negative things about yourself. You notice yourself feeling sad and unhappy. So the reason why you want to reaffirm the opposite is because you want to release those good feelings, so that dopamine, the serotonin, to help you feel those things about yourself, rather than feeling and believing those negative things, because your thoughts become your beliefs, which become your actions. Studies show when you shift your negative thoughts to positive ones, it reduces your stress and increases your confidence. So go ahead with your bad self and think that you are a badass. Remind yourself you are not your negative thoughts. Now, aside from reaffirming the opposite when it comes to negative thoughts, when it comes to negative thoughts and anxious thoughts, you want to separate yourself from them. So you want to do things like challenge them, ask yourself, what proof do you have of this thing? Ask yourself, is this a fact, or is this an insecurity, something you're afraid of happening? That can help you distinguish your fears versus reality. Catch all your what if thoughts. What if this happens? What if this person does this thing? No more what if thoughts. You want to make sure that you don't feed into that negative thought. You want to do things completely separating yourself from that thought, because you don't want it to be a part of you. You don't want to believe those negative or anxious thoughts. So you want to completely disassociate it from you and recognize that that is just a fear-based thought. That's a negative thought. That is not you. Fears are basically lies we tell ourselves. Because at the end of the day, our imagination goes wild, and the things that we're afraid of or anxious about are way worse in our minds than when we actually deal with them. Well, the way we remember them is way worse than when we're actually in it. Or it is way worse than you imagine it to be. You want to recognize that fear-based thought, that anxious thought, and call it for what it is. An anxiety in your head, but not necessarily a reality. You don't have a choice who knocks on your door, but you have a choice of who you entertain, who you open the door for. Same thing goes with your thoughts. You can't control what thoughts come, but you can control the thoughts you entertain. So when you get a thought, you can decide like, okay, I'm getting this thought. Am I gonna continue to entertain the thought? Am I gonna continue to think about this thought? Or am I gonna recognize that it's just a thought and then move on? No, don't entertain them. Anxiety or anxious thoughts can be your body's way of telling you you need to do things differently. So make sure that when you're having those anxious negative thoughts, you challenge them, you don't believe them, and you tell yourself like, I'm going to separate myself from this thing. I'm gonna put it in a box. I'm gonna name my negative voice. I have a whole video on dealing with negative thoughts or even anxiety that I will link down below. So then at the end of that journal, when you're expressing all of your feelings, when you're identifying what's going on, when you are self-soothing, reparenting, or challenging your negative thoughts, you then need to ask yourself, what do you need? And then give yourself that need. So do you need to go for a drive? Do you need a hug? Do you need to talk to somebody? Do you need to watch a movie? Do you need to have some fun time? Whatever it is, identify what you need, and then it's really important that you give yourself that need. It's important to fulfill your needs because it is what improves your self-worth, and it is a form of self-love. With all that being said, this self-check-in that you do in your journal, that's what you then want to do throughout the day. Journaling will really help to get you started, especially if you're not used to being self-aware. It's really hard for you to identify your thoughts or what's going on in your mind and also your feelings. So the thing is that you want to practice in your journal so you can start to do that throughout the day. So whenever you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling sad, whenever you're feeling a certain feeling, rather than suppress it or just try to keep it away, you now want to check in with yourself, say like, okay, I recognize I'm having this feeling. What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? And then you use the tools we talked about, like soothing yourself, using reparenting language, asking yourself what you need. And also, if you're having anxiety, you don't believe that anxious-based thought, you remind yourself it's just anxiety and it's way worse in our minds than it actually is in real life. And then what you need to do is you ask yourself, what do you need? And then you give yourself that need. And you will notice yourself being able to be more aware of things that are going on in your life, more aware of how you're feeling, more aware of what you want in your life. And you'll notice yourself having less anxiety, less negative thoughts, less negativity going around. But here's the thing, you're always going to deal with negativity. It's a part of life. There's negativities there, or horrible things in life are there to teach us lessons. So you're always going to deal with those things, but the thing is that you want to learn how to go through them rather than avoiding them or just being triggered and then you're not able to deal with it. You want to learn how to get through. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. No, you can't go out because you behave bad and you bark and then you disturb the people. Come here. Oh, of course, you gotta smell everything you see. You want to show them your haircut? Come here. Sash, come here. Sasha, stop smelling everything. You wanna come? Come here. Come show them your haircut. Come here. Come. You're such a brat. You show them your sweater and your new haircut. I'm not a fan of this haircut. They shaved her completely off. And now she's cold and she has to wear clothes at all times now. I love you. I love you. You're my best friend. Sash, where did you go? Sasha, where the hell are you? Are you in the box?